Hi, you're watching the 2025 World Cup doubles from Saturday, September 13th in Budapest, Hungary. This is a match from the A pool round robin featuring Antonio Cuaresma and Alejandro Fernandez from Spain, as well as Jamie Harter and Linder Wendt from the USA. My name is Andy Norton, and I actually am in the same Minneapolis Crokinole Club as Linder, so I'm familiar with him, as well as Jamie comes over from Wisconsin to play with us too. So, looks like Antonio is leading off here, and he gives us a miss. Jamie lines up and has a great placement of that disc. Alejandro cannot get the off, and there are now two discs on the board. The North Stars, oh my goodness, that was a great shot from Antonio Cuaresma. He just got a angle in 20, and Jamie could not score his open 20. So there are two discs on the board for the North Stars, and they do have the hammer, so not all is lost. Especially after Alejandro appears to have not gotten the off and lost his own disc, and Linder makes him pay. So they're now tied in the cup, 1-1, two discs on the board, and Antonio, it looks like he is opting to hide on the other side of the board from Jamie. Jamie has to get a touch on his disc. Looks like he's going through his own disc, gets both off, but he's left with only one disc on the board. Alejandro looked like he was hoping that his bounce would give him something there, and it couldn't score 20. Linder got the off. All right, things are looking quite good for the North Stars. They are tied in the cup, but they have the hammer, and they're happy to just play to the outside and play a defensive game. Alejandro, again, does not get the off, hides his disc, but Linder's up to the challenge. Aiming for a follow-through, sort of a drift 20 there, but Antonio could not quite get it. And with just a few discs left here, Alejandro and Antonio really need to score 20. Alejandro made a push there, but couldn't quite get it in. Linder lining up, pushed through. That's unusual for Linder. He doesn't normally do that, since it gave a possible 20 opportunity for Antonio, but Antonio could not convert. Jamie gets the off, and there's not much Alejandro can do. Like Antonio asking who has the hammer. Linder will be having the last shot here, and it is inconsequential. There's 10 and a 5 on the board for North Stars, and that red disc was on the line, so it was just 10 points. So they threw away their last disc. There is no shame in throwing away your last disc, people. Do not let yourself mess it up. All right, Jamie should be kicking us off here with the first shot. It's been a long day, a little bit of jet lag probably. They're not quite sure who goes first. Jamie scores, and Alejandro fails to match with his own 20. Linder gets it off. It looks like Antonio was looking for a push through 20 there. Jamie just hoping not to give them any chance to get 20, but Alejandro makes an excellent follow through 20 there. Does not get the off, unfortunately, which I think would have been very difficult in that position, but because of that, Linder had a free shot. He scored his 20. And now they're back again in a relatively poor position. Jamie does not get the disc off there, and Alejandro cannot get the push through 20. But with that other disc on, looks like Linder is playing a textbook Linder Wendt move here and just putting his disc back on the other side of the board. Antonio gives Linder a reproving glance there. This is what you have to deal with playing in Minneapolis, Minnesota all the time. What wonderful shot from Antonio, but I think he's upset that he couldn't get a 20 off of that, or couldn't. I think he may have wanted to lose his other disc, just knowing that the game's just going to putz around on the outside of the board here forever if they let it. Yeah, Alejandro did not get the peel. I don't know if he was looking for a peel. He probably should have been. Yeah, there's the peel from Antonio. Oh, Jamie had a little bit of an error there. He wanted to keep the other disc on the board. There's times where you actually want to not clear your opponent's disc because it gives you more opportunities to just play to the outside. So here we have a big opportunity for a long angle in, and he gets it. My goodness, that was a great shot from Antonio. Wow. And you can trace that back to Jamie having accidentally knocked his opponent's disc off the board. He wanted to keep play to the outside and couldn't do that. But Jamie and Alejandro now score. Linder could score here to guarantee at least a tie. He does. Now the pressure's on Antonio to close it out. He does not get it. He's frustrated. He bashes the table, and that does not count. So, at least not in the USA. So 4 points now for Jamie and Linder, and Alejandro will be kicking us off here. Some really good play from the Spanish team, but Jamie and Linder have played some textbook defensive play. Almost all the way around the horn here. Wow, 5 shots in a row, no misses. Linder first to miss, and they're checking to see if his disc is touching the ring. He went for his phone to use the flashlight test, but Antonio waved him away. The Spanish team is up a 20 here, but Jamie and Linder have the hammer. So no mistakes from the Spanish team.
That's out, but that one I'm not sure.
Looks like some consideration here of whether these discs, whether both or either of these discs are on the board or come off. Looks like Linder confirms the one is off, and they've decided that that one sticks. So the Spanish disc is still on. That's good for Antonio and Alejandro. Looks like Linder was, that's interesting, he chose not to peel, I think with the hope of setting up Jamie for a long angle in, or for the choice to hide behind the pegs against Alejandro. Looks like he's lining up for the angle in shot, but does not quite get it. Alright, so again, Spain is up a 20, but they're against the hammer, so they really cannot afford to let the North Stars get 2 discs on the board or to score a 20. Linder couldn't quite get the 20 there. Antonio pushing for a 20 there, it looked like, and left it far too close to the hole. Jamie's a left-hander too, so he does not mind leaning to his left and scores a wonderful follow-through 20. That was golden. Another miss from Alejandro, and what should be an opportunity for Linder to score here. Yeah, wow. Linder and Jamie have managed to swing this game their way. Wow. Antonio levels it, but there's only a few discs left. Jamie scores. Alejandro scores. If Linder can score this, he all but clinches it. He does not. Antonio, though, really needs to score 20 or nothing really matters. He does not quite get it. And so at this point, Jamie just needs to not mess up here. He needs to clear the red disc and leave at least one of these discs on the board, which he did. So they were able to steal that back. Yeah, that's a worthy instant replay for Jamie. Beautiful follow through. That's a pretty good one from Linder. Alright, so it's 6-0 now, North Stars. We'll see if Antonio and Alejandro can pull 2 points off of them. Wonderful shooting. Oh, and Alejandro first to miss. He is not happy.
Yeah.
Linder does not get the off, but I don't know if he's so upset about that, because it gives him something to play with on his side of the board. Because they are up at 20. Yeah, Alejandro had to push for that very difficult 20 and couldn't quite get it. So here, yeah, Linder just plays it outside, really needs to do nothing. Really happy to force Antonio and Alejandro to make big, bold plays, like a push here. Yeah, very strong push, but couldn't aim it toward the hole. Jamie hiding, and he places his disc pretty squarely. He's thinking 3 steps ahead that Antonio is going to want to score off of the disc he just placed there. But he placed it pretty squarely in the middle there, so that's going to be difficult to score off of. Looked like Alejandro was potentially trying to clear both discs. Now Antonio lines up and makes an incredible shot there. Tying it back up, and they have the hammer. Jamie does not peel. I think he's hoping that the discs they have on the board could give them some advantage, might help them create some opportunities to score. But Jamie, you can see he's thinking very hard. He's thinking about a lot of different possibilities that might develop from here. So Alejandro gets a takeout, leaves Linder a very difficult opportunity to score. There's hardly any angle there. A deep push, possibly. No, he just leaves it there. I'm not quite sure on their thinking there, what their thinking might develop. Antonio tries to get a double takeout, but only gets the one. This is very interesting, coming down to the wire here with Antonio and Alejandro having the hammer, but it's tied. There are 3 blue discs on the board. Alejandro sinks a 20 to put them ahead. Linder cannot match. So there's just 1 shot left for Jamie and Linder, while Antonio and Alejandro have 1 each. That wasn't said very clearly, but yeah, Antonio will shoot here. Oh, and he's lost his own disc. Gets a single takeout. Jamie's gonna touch here. Yeah, he gets 20, and now he's hoping for at least a tie. So if Alejandro knocks out the disc in the 15, it looks like it'll be 15-15, and they'll take a single point off of the North Stars. There's no real chance for a 20 here. Oh, he's sees an angle for it. Alejandro does not look pleased with that possible. Doesn't seem to be happy with what he's being asked to do. A very, very, very difficult 20 opportunity from that angle. Or he decides to line up completely differently and push through from another disc. Hoping to clear 2 discs, land the 10 or the 15, and beat the 5, I think. A lot of discussion of where these discs are going to exit, where they're going to bounce. Alejandro leans to shoot. And he gets it. He gets 2 discs off, lands the 10. The 10 beats the 5, and they got 2 points. That was impressive. Impressive save there at the end from Alejandro. And that very impressive shot from Antonio. That was wonderful. Thanks for watching, and continue with our coverage.